Welcome to Paranormal Night Open Mic in spooky Eureka, the weirdest little town in America. Home to ghosts, cryptids, Bigfoot, demons, all manner of entities from other dimensions call this place home. And today, people who also call this place home will tell us their encounters with the paranormal. I also have stories sent in to Weird Howard. I'm your host, Gordon Cloutworthy. Our producer, Peter Nelson, could not be here today. He was abducted by aliens. At least that's what I want to tell people. Come back to Earth, Peter.
Come home safely.
So, if you are unfamiliar, Paranormal Open Mic Night is a chance for people who have reached into the deep recesses of their mind and remembered things that were outside of the normal into the paranormal, and they'll come up and tell stories of their encounters with either ghosts or Bigfoot. Oh, do we have any Bigfoot sightings here? Any Bigfoot? We're the capital of Bigfoot country. We are Bigfoot country. Every 3 weeks straight, no Bigfoot encounters. All right, I'll tell my Bigfoot story tonight. Any ghost encounters? Oh, kind of. All right. Alien stories. Any encounters with any extraterrestrials? For those of you that don't know, we did have a UFO sighting just over here maybe 4 weeks ago. Big ball of bright orange fire light floating over back here. I think the video is on the @Paranormal Open Mic Instagram account, and it's just a fun account to peruse. Pretty good show tonight. I'm really excited. I hope you all are too. So I think the first thing I want to do, since I'm hosting by myself, anybody ready to come up right now with a story? Anybody dying to come up? Do I need to set the stage? I will set the stage. I'm going to read a story. This was sent in. If you have a story, you can email it to weirdhowardproductions@gmail.com, and we will read your story live online. So this story comes from Chelsea, who lives in Port Canaveral. Me and my friends were driving down the road in Florida that you can go like 80 or 90 miles, and there are no cops. It's called Nova Road. We had a tire pop, but this was like at 11 o'clock at night, and there wasn't anyone on the road, and it would have been like an hour before the tow truck came. So we decided to walk along the road to explore. We came to a small grove of trees, and the fence that was supposed to stop people from getting in to the trees was down. So we walked into the trees, as you do. Like, you're bored, late night, out in the middle of the road, nobody around. Let's go for a late night tree romp. Fence was supposed to stop people from getting in and down, so we walked the trees from inside the road. Inside the trees was a bunch of clothes all torn apart and arranged into a circle with an old fire in the middle. Then there was a noise like a growling, and we saw these blue eyes like 15 feet from the ground. And we each saw it, and we felt like this was a demon. And there was this light coming from all around us, like a fire was lit. But there wasn't any fire. But the light felt like it was pushing us away, like we weren't supposed to be there. So we ran back to the car, and we waited for the tow truck and didn't say anything the whole time. Well, that's actually kind of creepy. That's interesting. So they went into the grove of trees. There were torn up clothes, maybe torn up like shredded clothes. A fire in the middle, maybe it was old like tent city, something. Maybe homeless. There's a big number of homeless population in Florida, so it could have been like an old homeless camp. And then a demon with blue eyes and a light pushing them back. That's really interesting. That's a really interesting story. I mean, if the demon is going to live anywhere, it's going to live in Florida. Like, you know that. We all know that. Florida's a terrible place.
I have friends in Florida for work. Send them thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers, Florida. And I think, Marvin, did you want to tell your angel story?
I don't know. Is it apply? Is it?
Angels and Demons. That's like a popular book, I think.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
All right. Let's give it up for Marvin, everybody. And if you're not comfortable coming to the stage, we do have a wireless mic, so we can bring it to you. And just letting you know that the beer of the night is Rogue Dreamland, and they're doing a happy hour special during Paranormal Open Mic. So this is the beer of Paranormal Open Mic, Rogue Dreamland.
This happened probably like more than a month ago. When I visited her, she mentioned something like one time she visited her son's grave with a friend. She described that there was this old man who showed up, dressed nicely and spoke to them, said, "Oh, how are you guys doing? And how's the weather?" And this is like a regular conversation. And what happened after that is like after the conversation was done, the guy just turned around, walked a few feet away, just after a few feet, he just vanished right in front of their eyes,
Whoa.
not with my friend and her friend, there's the two of them who witnessed it. Logically, that should not supposed to happen, an object that you can see and feel will not just vanish like that, right? And then she asked me, "So what do you think?" I said, well, I'm one of those sensitive, if someone asks me a question and if I get any answer, anything, I can tell right away. I said, the first time in my life, I just sensed that it could be an angel. First thing that came to my mind when it comes to an angel is like Archangel Michael, but at the same time, it's not him because the description doesn't match. It's just like something's way up, and then I realized, oh my God, this is an angel that with a much higher rank. And then I figured out who it is, but I just can't say the name because it's like I have mixed emotions. I don't know it's like I'm excited, but at the same time, kind of, what you call it?
Is it scared?
Not scared. It's not scared in a bad way. It's like nervous. I was kind of I'm excited, like, oh my God, this is the first time like we have a much higher ranking angel. But I'm kind of nervous, like, oh my God, okay, what are we dealing with? Okay, is that a good news or bad news? And then I just realized it back in my head, oh my God, we just had a huge earthquake in, what's the name of the place that had
Turkey,
yes. And this is the kind of one of those angels who work behind the scenes, like, he's very, very subtle, he's like the power behind the throne, it's like second in command, he does a lot of things, he's in charge of every other angel, but he's not the one who shows his face. Now, I don't know if I take that as a sign or not. I don't know. So I decided, you know what? Something's just not right. I mean, not in a bad way. Like, something's really off. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to visit the place where this guy showed up. Well, I visited like 2 weeks later, and I tried to get the feeling of the place. And I was expecting that this so-called figure, this person would show up. Anyway, so I went to this place, and no, nobody showed up. But I just like, maybe I'll try again someday. But like I said, there are some things that just happening, that's way outside the radar. that's beyond, reasonable explanations, logical or not. So that's one of my paranormal, I don't know, experience this past month.
What exactly did the well-dressed man look like? Was he wearing like?
Oh my God, he was the way they describe him is very well dressed. Is very, just not, not too shabby. It's just someone you could relate with. Probably around in his 60s or 70s. And he's holding some kind of an equipment, like a camera, and he said, "Oh, I love this place. I want to hang out there sometime."
I wonder if the man is like a Man in Black character. Wouldn't that be interesting?
It's almost like Black, but it's not, because it doesn't give you that dark vibe.
Yeah, I got you.
Maybe black in a tuxedo or formal suit kind of way, but nothing sinister.
That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just. What if the Men in Black are actually angels protecting us?
From what I'm saying in this case,
Maybe.
I can't rule that possibility, but this one is pretty much like a higher ranking thing, even beyond Saint Michael, Archangel. This being is one of the light workers. Well, I would not say it as a light worker, because it's like you're taking sides. He's more like a maintenance kind of what you call that? What do you call that? Someone who takes a caretaker behind the scenes. Yeah, that's it. But other than, and it's so weird that I mentioned the name caretaker, because it's a graveyard too. So maybe in a metaphor kind of sense, like he's looking after not just the cemetery, but also the entire world. Looking after, make sure everything is running as it should be. Yeah, but I don't know. I have so many questions. Like I need to see this person. I need to interrogate this guy if he manifests or he shows up.
Yeah, he's got to fix his timeline. This thing is screwed
it's
up.
not. No, it's not part of his job. I know. Well, I have to use that. I have to
That's
use.
pretty
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, I understand. But to tell you the truth, I have a reputation on the other side. Like I say things, but I don't mean it. So when I say interrogation, that means interview in a very serious way, but no pun intended. But sometimes I have to say it in a way like when I mean interrogate. Like I have so many questions, but I'm not gonna beat it up out of you. But
Martin, you are the Eurekan Constantine. Is who you are.
Oh, sorry, I don't know about that. There's so many places here in Eureka that's considered haunted. I don't know what that means, because haunted is a very, I don't know how you define it.
Term.
Yeah, it's a loosey term. There's some places here. Let me see. There's a building out there, the blue big building right across Oberon. Oh, gosh. What's the name? Vance Hotel. Yeah. I heard that they said it was haunted. I did a reading one time, and I felt some kind of an energy on the third. Is it the third or the fourth floor? There's something about the fourth floor. There's a woman there. But so I did a reading, and all I can sense is that I don't know. Is there a fourth floor in the Vance Hotel? I don't know. I've never been there.
I think so.
There is?
Yes.
Okay. I know there's something about the fourth floor. There's this stairs and the door. Well, the door's already been blocked. They remodeled it, so there was a wall. There used to be a door, and that one they blocked it with the stairs. Anyway, there's this woman up there. She dressed like a old Victorian, whatever, like a skirt, and she always there, yelling at her servants downstairs, like, "Can you bring my stuff? Bring my stuff." And she's still waiting for that bellhop guy downstairs on the front
We're
door
all
to go
that
up.
bellhop guy.
So if you're gonna do some investigating on the Vance Hotel, my suggestion is to dress up back in that era, as a bellhop. That might trigger some events, not in a bad way, but just like it's almost like it's like recreating.
I know the stair you're talking.
You work there?
You worked there?
So there's
you're
actually
gonna
a stairs.
I got to hear this story.
Okay,
if
tell
you,
me
if
this.
you don't mind.
No, I didn't know about the stairs. I
So-
know there's a fourth floor and there's a stairs, but I didn't know. But I've never been there.
Is it?
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
I was just gonna say, yes, I've seen the stair. There's this small staircase that leads to a wall.
Huh? You're not pulling my chain, right?
No, I
Oh, okay, good.
worked there. There's a small staircase on the second floor.
Hold on, we're going to turn your mic up just a little bit.
It leads to
Maybe? Are we go?
It leads to a wall. So it's a very small staircase. It's like 10 little steps. It just leads to a wall. It's a paved wall. You could walk up the stairs.
All I
and
know
it's not
that-
really anything.
Well, I don't know, but
it's
behind
paved
that,
over.
behind that wall,
So-
there's another stairs that goes up and then turn right. It's almost like an attic, but she's there. She's
Okay.
she's nice. I mean, but
So
she's very
that's-
strict on. She's very strict on who gets it. That's the impression I'm getting. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. That's it. But
Okay.
s-
Yeah. That's
I'm
where
sorry.
we
Now,
need
see, I'm
to go.
crying right
Yeah.
now because
That
I'm.
is really cool
I
that
can-
you have some,
Yeah.
some
I can,
overlap
yeah,
here.
sorry, I'm
That's all
kind of
fine.
not emotional. I'm kind of crying right now because like I can feel her energy. So, rest her soul and in peace. That's
Does anybody else want to talk? Does anybody else want to come up? Anybody else have a story? You've got a story? All right, we'll come
Okay.
back to you. We'll
Okay.
do the
Thank you so much. We'll come back later, okay?
we'll do the talk about other dimensions and being in the Mandela effect. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to Paranormal Open Mic Night.
Thank you.
My name's Gordon. Your name?
My name is Vooney.
What type of story do you have for us?
I have a few ghost stories.
My favorite type of story.
Yeah.
I think they're the stories that we can learn the most about.
Yeah. They're not really stories, just like
Happens.
occurrences.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Things that happen. I've talked about them before. I don't know if anyone here was here the last time that I spoke about them, but I work at a mortuary also.
A perfect place for ghosts.
Yes.
Just bar none.
A little too good of a place for ghosts, I will admit. I don't know if I should lead with like the most compelling one.
Whatever you want to. Yeah, I mean.
No.
Yeah, let's.
Tanya said no,
Oh,
so.
set it up. Build.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So I guess we can go chronologically.
Okay.
So when I first started working there, like, it was chill. It wasn't that big of a deal. I house sat for my boss who lives at the mortuary. She has a dog and 2 cats. They're very sweet. But when I was at her house, like, I was just chilling, watching like Netflix or something on the TV. And I was watching a scary movie, as one would, obviously. And like all of the lights went off at once, and I thought that was really weird. So I got up to see if like the breaker had malfunctioned or something. But all of the light switches were down, which was definitely not how they were before.
That is a nope.
Yeah, that was a mega nope. But it honestly
A
wasn't
mega
that
nope.
bad because, like I said, she has a dog and 2 cats, and the dog is like a little pit bull. He's really cute. I felt like he protected me. I don't know. I didn't feel unsafe at all.
Oh yeah.
It was
Well,
just
pit
like
bulls are
really
amazing.
weird.
I love pit bulls.
And then there was another time, if we're going chronologically, or a few other times, I guess, where I would see a man in a suit, like a very nicely tailored suit, walking from like out of the room that I was in into a different room, but I would only ever see the back of his pant leg basically as he went through the doorway. It was weird, and I would always be like, oh, is there a man here in a like fancy suit? And everyone would be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'd be like, okay, because people come in and out. It's a mortuary.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Thinking about doing it myself.
I don't know. We have like motion activated cameras that go off all the time, and like things will fall off the wall, but like that's not weird. It happens. Like it's an earthquake area.
Yeah.
Stuff
all
like
right.
that. But the most compelling thing that I guess I've gotten to now, because I can't really remember any of the rest of the things that happen
Here we go.
off the top of my head, is that one time I was walking from our chapel into like the prep room area where we keep all the people in the fridge, and I heard people whispering in the prep room like before I went in, which is normal because there's pretty frequently like people back there. It's not a weird thing to hear people back there, but I distinctly heard people whispering, and as soon as I unlocked, because it's locked obviously, but as soon as I unlocked this door to get into the prep room where all these people are kept, I just heard everyone go, shh.
Oh,
And
no.
then it just went dead silent. And there was no one in there. There was not a soul.
Oh, no.
And it was really weird. And that was something that, like, you know, sometimes you think that you made it up in your head, but that was one time that I was like, I know that happened. And I was telling my boss about it. And she was like, it was probably because we're right next to, like, a drive-through ATM. So she was like, maybe it was just like the ATM people talking or something. I was like, no, I don't think they would be whispering at the drive-through ATM. I know.
No,
it was
yeah, that's
really
a big
weird,
nope.
yeah. So that was like the thing that I was definitely like, oh, they don't like me.
And you still
Like-
work there?
I do, yeah.
You're
I
like, you're
worked
gonna
there
like
today.
me. I don't care. I'm here for a paycheck.
No, I don't know. I do try to be like as respectful as I can. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, so to speak. But like I don't know.
Don't want to walk on anybody's grave.
I'll take questions if people have questions.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
okay.
there we go. All right,
Okay,
let's
can you hear me now? Okay, yeah. Your name is
Vooney.
Uni? Okay.
Vooney with a V.
Vooney.
Booney with a B?
V.
Yes.
V, V.
Okay, Booney. Okay, so you mentioned something about, when you were talking about the part everybody's trying to shut up and you felt like voices in the room. There's 5 people in that room. Sorry, I'm just getting that psychic feeling right now. There's 5 people in that room, and they're trying to push away this guy in there. He's
In the room?
in the room. Okay, there's 5.
I will say there were about 5 people in the room.
Okay, I don't know
in
that.
the fridge at that time.
Before you spill the beans. Okay, let me tell you what the impression I'm getting. When you're talking about that story, I see 5 people.
Okay.
5 people in there in that room. They're nice. Don't worry. You have nothing to worry about them. They're just there. That's their party room. They hang out with each other. They
Hanging
make
out.
jokes. They're just having a conversation. If nobody's around. Well, the thing is, they're trying to get rid of this guy who's very annoying. He tries to, scare the heck of everybody else. So they kick him out.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, that's the story. That's the inside
Good.
information I'm getting when
Yeah.
you share that story.
I will say, like, in the ghosts because there have been occurrences that I didn't talk about tonight, and like definitely the vibe that I get from everyone that I meet there is like they're lost. Because it's a mortuary. Like everyone.
Well,
just
they're
passed away,
young.
and a lot of
they're
them, like,
young. I don't know what's the connection is, but they're young.
Yeah.
They're really
it's
young.
definitely a
people.
feeling of like they're confused. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
yeah,
like
they're-
I didn't really
well,
take
it's-
it in like
it's
a negative way. I
Well,
always
Well,
That's
not
why-
in. Yeah,
That's why
confused
all
because.
of us need to go visit a mortuary now. That
Yeah.
way we won't be confused when we end up there later.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. Well, kind of confused because what the heck are they doing there, right?
Exactly.
But at the same
that's
time-
how I would feel if I.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I
was a
mean, the
ghost
question is,
suddenly, I would be
place.
like, oh my
yes.
God, where am I? I've never been here before. Like, I
Yes,
don't
yes. It's like the
recognize
question
this
is,
place.
of all places, why should they be there? Doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. But let me tell you this: there's 5 of them, and they're having fun, But they meant no harm.
So you
I
had.
didn't feel like they meant any harm. I will
Okay,
say.
but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you
Uh-huh.
what I'm getting right now.
So this guy guessed that you had 5 people, and you said at that time you had 5
I
people.
can't say that it was exactly 5 people, but it was around that because we have,
That-
yes.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
That is very, very interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't more than like 7 people, I would say, and I don't know. So
Wow.
he's not far off, is all I'll say.
That I mean. Yeah, Marvin's the Constantine of Eureka, for sure. That was crazy.
Okay. Well,
All right.
that's all I have, unless anyone else wants any more information.
Wow, that was I mean, I don't know what more to ask. I think no, that was great. What do you have a question?
My question was, so since you work there, you're there daily. Do you set out any verbal intentions to the people
Yes.
who have passed?
Yes,
just
and I was
throughout
saying,
your day.
I don't specifically like, oh, these are my intentions. Like, I don't make it that much of a thing, but I do talk to people. I feel like it normalizes it, and it also makes me feel better that like I'm explaining the process of things, if that makes sense, just so that like I don't feel like I'm being disrespectful or anything like that. I would like to be like, hey,
While you're with a deceased body, you will.
well, I'll be
talk
like,
and
oh, hey,
speak
like,
and,
we're on our
like-
way home. I hope you like this radio station, like, stuff like that. Just like, hey, like, sometimes I don't know if this is messed up, but sometimes I'll
I've-
try to like read the vibe of someone and be like, oh, I think you'd want to listen to this type of music. So I'll be like,
I feel like
maybe
that's
this is nice.
so
But
respectful.
I just try to like match the energy.
That's
you
such a
know?
respectful
And
thing
I'm
to
like,
do.
I just want you to be comfortable. Like, I hope you like this spot that I made for you, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know.
That's so respectful.
It's different than setting my intentions, I would say, for sure. But it is like
That's what I meant.
just
though.
being,
It's a
being in a
walkthrough.
position of like, hey, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Like,
It's a very self-aware
yeah,
way to
I try to
your
like
work ethic.
not disconnect myself from it because I don't think that would be good.
Yeah, that's good. That's wow. Okay. Thank you for the questions. And thank
Thank
you
you.
for taking the questions. All right. So we talked about ghosts. We definitely talked about ghosts. We talked about ghosts a lot. I think this place, ghosts, demons, angels. Have we talked about aliens? Anybody? Yeah. Since Bigfoot story. Bigfoot. All right. I'll go. All right. Let's do one more ghost story, then we'll move on to physical cryptids, cryptids.
Yeah, I believe it is cryptids.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Gordon.
Hello, Gordon. I am Zach.
Zach, nice to meet you. What you
Nice
have
to meet you for the first time.
for the first time ever? No, Zach's a good friend of mine.
I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad. Are you enjoying it? This is your first Paranormal Open Mic. I
It
believe.
is, yes. This is very nice. This is very cool.
It is really cool. I really like it.
Yeah.
And I like that we tell these stories and it kind of loosens up other stories that we have in the back of our heads, those long forgotten memories that we might have bubbling up inside of us where it brings out the paranormal in all of us. So yeah,
Well,
let's hear your.
Cool. Well, I have a story. It's really more of a... Okay, so I'm not exactly a primary source on this. I'm really more of a secondary. This is a story that actually comes from my dad about his grandmother. He had a grandma named Petra, and she lives in Colorado, or lived in Colorado. I believe Walsenburg, Colorado. He just texted me the address, and I instantly forgot it. But
Yeah.
neither here nor there. And apparently this house has a history to it, or that we suppose, but we also believe that this house is very, very haunted. There have been multiple stories I've heard over the course of my life of people who have stayed at this house and who have had some encounter with the ghost that lives there. Some have even claimed, my mother included, claims to have, while they were asleep in this house, something would grab them by the ankle and like pull them from the bed.
Yeah, that's what we call in the industry a level 7 note.
A level 7 note. And apparently, I never met her, but apparently great-grandmother Petra was a very, very, very hardy woman, a very, very, very courageous woman, and it was the kind who would not take any nonsense from this ghost. So whenever she would hear the shriek of somebody who had an encounter or a rustling, she would be the one to say, "Hey, like, we are not trying to take your treasure. Like, leave us alone. We're not bothering you." We speculate that this ghost is some sort of a pirate, we think, that may have some sort of have a buried treasure somewhere in and around the area. We don't know for certain, and again, I'm a secondary source. I'm hearing this from my father, who heard it from his mother, grandmother. So
I mean,
facts are getting,
as far as ghosts
distilled
go,
here.
pirate ghosts are like my number one favorite ghost.
Yeah. So apparently, this guy is just he's just very protective of his treasure. It doesn't seem like he means any harm. He's just very, very protective of his. But more than that about this ghost. I've heard this story a bunch of times over the course of my life, but there's one aspect of it that has always kind of stuck with me, and one that's rattled in my brain ever since I've heard it. And it has less to do with the ghost itself, but more the house. And this is a bit. I don't know how you would define this. I guess something of like an architectural spectre or something. Maybe you'll understand once I tell it.
Okay.
So, I have never been in this house. I've only heard descriptions of it, but apparently it goes something like this. So you walk into the front door, and you're in the entryway, foyer, whatever you want to call it. And apparently, if you enter the door on the right, you take a step up, and you're in, I suppose, the dining area.
Oh.
Your typical dining area. Table, square room, table, chairs, all that stuff. There's a room adjacent to that. You take another step up, and that will take you into the kitchen. Nothing particularly outstanding about this kitchen either. If you walk through it and move into the next room, you take another step up, you move into the living room. Again, simple living room, nothing particularly outstanding about this living room. You walk into the next room, it's into the adjacent room connected to that. You take another step up, you're in, I believe, the study. And if you cross over in that room, you're back into the foyer, into that entryway by the front door. And you take another step up. And in the course of having taken those 5 steps up through the course of the house, you've never taken 1 step down.
Oh. All right.
And it's just a fascinating little.
I mean, if you got the address, there might be realtor pictures.
It could be.
Yeah, so maybe we could look that up later.
Might be fun, yeah. But anyway, that's about my personal paranormal story.
I love it. I love the pirate protecting his booty. It's called booty.
The booty, yeah.
The booty.
Yeah. But yeah, so we think somewhere probably under the house is maybe there's a hidden treasure somewhere, but we'll never know.
It's pretty cool. It's cool to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can communicate to the pirate, all you have to do is just communicate to the pirate once to get the treasure. But like,
Possibly. You got to get on their good side.
what do you call a medium that's only ever talked to one ghost?
What?
A medium rare. Come on, that was all
Flower,
right.
everybody. He'll be here
Thank
all
you.
week.
Well,
Alrighty, well,
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for the story. That was good.
Yeah, happy to. If I've seemed like the right time, and if I had a story, it felt like a good time to share.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we want. That's it's the best part about this story is that, like, I think everybody has something weird or something paranormal that has happened to them in the past, and this is a good spot to just kind of to come out with it and talk.
In kind of in a non-judgmental way.
Oh, yeah,
There
no.
are things that happen that everybody loves to have an explanation for things, and sometimes they just don't exist, and that I think scares people, and they don't really know what to do with that. And sometimes you just need a space to just kind of let things be.
Yep, you don't
Mysterious.
it doesn't always need an explanation. It doesn't always need, sometimes it's better that way. Sometimes it's one of those stories that stay with you for a while and generations, and then you come up to Paranormal Open Mic night and talk about.
Or it's how we get, things like Cthulhu.
Oh yeah, of course. Gotta love Cthulhu.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you
Okay.
so much. Thanks for
Of
coming.
course.
All right. That was some really interesting. There's some really awesome stuff here. We got a really great weird community, and I absolutely love it. So I have another story, and this one was pretty freaking creepy. I'm gonna say this one had some hairs on my neck stand up, and this comes to us from Sue. She is from outside of Billings, Montana. She won't divulge exactly where, and I'm sure you will understand when I start reading this story. I live in a rural area outside of Billings. Our family has lived on our home for almost 100 years. On our property is a well, but we don't know who dug it as it's been on the property for a long time. The well is far from the house and isn't in a convenient place, as you need to pass through some wooded area and toward the rocky part of the property that no one ever goes to. It's maybe a quarter mile from the main home, so it hasn't really ever been used. The well goes down about 100, 200 feet and is about 2 foot across. To be safe, my husband had it covered with some wood and marked to keep people away. So, I mean, that's a pretty deep and wide well. That might be a mine shaft. That might be maybe a cave. It's interesting. Around Christmas last year, we heard a scream coming from the area of the well. So that must have been a really loud scream because it's about a quarter mile away. My husband and our son decided to go check the well and see if maybe someone had fallen and to see if they needed help. When they got back, they said I needed to come see what was going on. We walked together toward the well. I saw that the wood planks that my husband had put down had come off as if they had exploded from the well, as if something from inside had burst out. For the next several days, we saw lights coming from the area of the well in our property. My husband and I thought flashlights, but when we went out to the area, there wasn't anything there. We also heard screams that maybe were some deer or some creature that may have fallen down the well. I'm not superstitious, but I remember my grandfather telling us about the rock people, people that lived long ago and were giants compared to normal people. It's been a while since any activity, and we did board up the well again. But I sometimes think that maybe those giants live under the rocks under our property and occasionally come out to drag some food underground to eat. That is extra creepy. I don't know. There's a lot of stories about giants, and there's a lot of stories that get circulated about giants living underground. The lights, the screaming, maybe flashlights. Maybe it's a little hidden underground base vent where the aliens live from. Don't give me that look. No, I'm just kidding. You can give me that look. I don't know. It's a really interesting story. I have not heard of any kind of giants in or around Montana, but I'm not putting that past that. I don't think Montana has very many cryptids. I think they've got like a lake monster. I think they've got Bigfoot. And I want to say there's maybe one more, like a rock monster. It's interesting. She says rock people because in some cultures, Bigfoot is considered considered a rock person, or it's a rock, a being that lives in the rocks and the caves. So maybe it's a Bigfoot hole. Maybe that's where they go. Maybe that's why we can't find them. And just having a little bit of expertise in the Bigfoot community. I know that they're known as really, really good climbers. Like they can scale up almost vertical cliffs. They got the glutes. You know what I mean? So yeah, it gives you a good amount to think about. It gives you something to think about for sure. My Bigfoot story. So I do a lot of documentary and film work. One of the films I worked on here is an upcoming film starring one of our local Bigfoot cryptid searchers. His name is Bobo. Some of you might know him from Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot. But he was doing a movie, and I was helping out with it. And I working in TV and working in film, you kind of understand like there's a bit of a script to things that happen. There's a bit of a story going on behind the scenes, and what happens in the cutting room might be completely different than what happens in real life. So I don't know how he's going to cut this together, but we were hours inland around the Sixes River up in southern Oregon. We had found a pretty awesome little area, and it was rainy and it was cold and it was isolated, and it was just like an old logging road that turned into an even uglier dirt road that had like barely a road, mostly just a cut trail with like logs and stuff all over top of it. Like we were out in the middle of nowhere. And we're hiking down, and we're just above, there's like a little cliff face, and there's a slow drop, and then on the bottom is an isolated lake. And this thing, it's like 2 a.m. We're out in the middle of nowhere. It took us 4 hours to find the area just to get there, and nobody should be around. And we hear talking, but it's not like people talk. Does that make sense? Has anybody ever heard, I think they're the Bigfoot tapes. They recorded Bigfoot sounds, and some of it sounds almost like a grunty Japanese. It's a really strange sound, language-y sound. But we heard that. We heard that night. And then Bobo, which I will never understand why we go out in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, and try to attract a shambling cryptid mass that could easily rip you in half if it wanted. Why? What's the idea behind that? Oh, it'll be good entertainment, and it is. It is great content, and it sucks because like there are people out there that believe that Bigfoot can see like infrared light or like camera light, which is why they never are seen on footage out there, and like all like. I don't know. But we see encounters when the cameras go off. It's ridiculous. So freaking Bobo pulls out his tree beating make sound stick and starts, it's called knocking. And he's knocking, and we hear more voices, and then they start knocking. And then we hear them coming closer. It's getting louder. And then, right before they're within our sight, our line of sight, like we're seeing movement, but we can't see like eye reflections or eye shines. We can see trees kind of rustling, bushes rustling. They realize that it's not a Bigfoot knocking back. So then they surround us. And then whenever we're focusing on one, another one will make a noise, and we'll focus on that, and then this one will make a noise, and that one will make a noise. So they're keeping us like a perimeter. And we see and we hear things walking up way past around us and going up the cliff face. And the next day, well, we marked the area. The next day we find all kinds of prints, like just half in the ground, like climbing straight up. Like you can tell that stuff had grabbed and dragged dirt up to get up. We couldn't get a full measurement, but the width of these things it was intense. It was pretty... It made me go, because I was a skeptic. I was a Bigfoot skeptic. I'm going to be real. And it made me go, maybe there's something to this, you know? So that's my Bigfoot story. Hope everybody enjoyed. All right, everybody. I think that's the end for Paranormal Open Mic Night. I'm Gordon Clatworthy. This is a Weird Howard production. Peter Nelson is our producer, and this was filmed live in front of the people at the Sirens Song Tavern in beautiful, spooky Eureka. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night.